What's up guys, it's Brian Mounts with Turf Mechanic. I'm going to be doing something crazy today, something that I have never done before, and I'd be stunned if any of you have tried this before also. What I got here is a bunch of native kind of field grasses that are infiltrating my yard through their underground network of rhizomatic root mass. The reason that they're infiltrating the yard here is because of my own sloth. This whole area right over here by our well, I've never landscaped it, I've never killed off all the natural foliage and the weeds, and so it's just starting to infiltrate in. Now I got a few other areas around the property that this is also happening, but this is the worst of the areas right here. Plus this is out at the front of our house, so it's kind of an eyesore and I need to clean it up. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to get rid of all of these grasses without killing my lawn. Hopefully this will work. It might fail, and if it does fail, you'll get to see it. All right, now to briefly explain the process here of what I'm going to be trying, I'm going to be taking an edging tool, just a long-handled edger, and I'm going to go to the other side of the fence, and I'm going to dig that edger as deep into the ground, right at the fence line as I possibly can. The point here is to sever as many of the roots and as many of the underground rhizomes as I possibly can from the grasses that are over there that are trying to spread this way. If I can sever them, then that basically means that everything on this side of the lawn is on its own. I'm then going to take a shovel and dig out all of the unwanted stuff over here. I'll eventually landscape it, but what's left over here, I'm going to go ahead and take glyphosate, make a small tiny little batch right here, and I'm going to use a paintbrush to dip it in and paint each unwanted blade of grass. The point here with severing it is that as I paint the leaves will suck up the glyphosate and it will bring it down into its root system. And because the root system has been severed from, let's call it the mother plants on the other side, it should be easier to kill. Now I'm going to be using this concentrated glyphosate from the Killzall brand. The brand itself isn't what I'm after, it's the actual active ingredient. So anytime that you see an active ingredient that's 41% glyphosate by concentrate, that's really what I'm after here. This particular product is sold at a few of my local hardware stores and online. It's usually cheaper to go to a hardware store, but I'll link to this down in the description below anyway. I'll also be mixing in a healthy dose of Market Blue so that I can kind of keep tabs on which grass blades I've painted. And of course, I'm going to add a surfactant in so that I get better leaf coverage. Now, of course, I'm going to be painting it on the leaf, but I don't want it to like condense into a bead. I really want it to coat the leaf all the way. I should also say this is the middle of spring and I'm in a long sleeve flannel here. I'm very, very hot. It's like almost 75 degrees today. It was about 69 yesterday. However, over the next few days, we're going to drop back down into the 40s. So this is really my best opportunity to go for the kill before we get really deep into spring. Last point is I have purposefully not cut this area of my grass with the lawnmower for a long time. Frequently, you're going to find these natural grasses, they grow taller and faster than your actual lawn. And in this case, all of the field grasses certainly are taller. They've got thicker leaves, they're taller, they're easier for me to see, and there's going to be more leaf surface for me to apply glyphosate onto. If I were to have mowed this a lot, over the past couple weeks or so, and it was like nice and well kept, it would actually be harder to get the herbicide on the leaves of these undesirable grasses. For one, they'd be deep down in my actual turf canopy, which would be more hard for me to not apply glyphosate to my actual grass. And there would be less leaf tissue on the undesirables to absorb the herbicide. I want more leaf tissue because I can get more of the product into the root system and have a better kill rate. Like I said, I've never done this before. I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it will. To start off, I'm going to edge and rip out all of the stuff over here with my shovel. Then I'm going to do my painting. All right, that's a pretty good start. I got a nice little trench dug here on the outside of the fence line. I'll probably polish it up a little bit here with with my edging tools. I even got a reciprocating saw. I was thinking about like punching that into the ground, but there's a lot of rocks, so I probably won't do that. Basically, I've cut a lot of the root systems off right here. I'm going to clean up some of the extra grass here on the front side, the stuff that isn't like attached that I've cut away already, because when I go to apply with my paintbrush glyphosate on the things that I don't want, I don't want to be wasting my time putting it on stuff that's already detached from the root system.
Ah, you knocked mine out of my hand!
This small trench follows the fence the whole way from front to back. It's probably only about 6 inches deep, so there's probably some underground rhizomes that are even deeper than that, but we are getting the vast majority of them, and I'm okay getting the vast majority of them. If I miss some stragglers, I can always come back later to fix the problem. All right, a little bit of time has passed in the day. It's a little bit later. It's even warmer at this point. I'm going to go ahead and mix up my batch. Now, typically when you're doing a 41% concentrate glyphosate, you're doing 2.5 ounces per gallon of water. That equates to 5 tablespoons per gallon of water. That covers 300 square feet. So because it's 5 tablespoons, I decided to round down, just cut it to 1/5 of that. So 1 tablespoon of this goes into 26.5 ounces of water. So, or 25.5 ounces, something like that. So I put 26 ounces of water in there. So I'm going to put 1 tablespoon. I'm going to use this little medicine measuring cup. Go up to the 3 teaspoon mark, which is a tablespoon, dump it in there, and then that goes straight into the trash. I'm also going to put a little bit of blue marking dye in there so I have a better idea of which grass blades I've put it on, along with the surfactants. So here we go. For those of you curious, I'm going to stir it with my paintbrush and then use the paintbrush on the grass blades. This is also going to go straight in the trash when I'm done. Now, this is worth noting too. Once I'm done painting, I'm going to have extra here. This extra is the correct dilution rate, so I'm going to put it into my tank sprayer and use it for another project, which is actually part of a lawn renovation project that I'm going to be doing later this spring. Of course, there will be a video out about that when the time is right, so subscribers will get to see that live. All right, that seriously was tedious. It took forever. It was very difficult, much harder than I was hoping it would be. I guess it wasn't surprising that it was hard. I am absolutely positive that I only got a fraction of the unwanted grasses that are coming up into this area. However, I got a lot of them. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to wait about 7 to 10 days and I'm going to see what starts dying off. You can very easily tell when you apply glyphosate to something that it's dying within a week. It won't be fully dead for, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, but you can see that it's working. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see what's working. And within, I don't know, about 7 days or so, then I'll be able to cut the grass and I'll let things start growing back. And whatever grassy, unwanted grasses start coming back, those I'm going to hit next week or maybe 10, 12 days from now, once weather temperatures get back into the appropriate zone to apply glyphosate. All right, in the meantime, here's the rest of my mixture. I'm tempted to put the cap on this, like ancient Tupperware on this, and then reuse this entire solution again in 10 days, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and take that and I'm going to pour it into my tank sprayer because I'm going to go ahead and start killing all of the foliage on this grassy hill. Subscribers will see this later in the spring. It should be pretty cool.
All right, 14 full days have passed. I let a little bit more time go by than I was expecting to, but this is straight up cool. Take a look. I actually never ended up cutting it. I just let it keep on growing. I haven't even watered over here in 2 weeks, so everything is looking really crispy right now. It needs a good water, so I do want to give this a trim, but take a look at what is dying. So here on the video, I actually showed you me applying to a lot of these things. This is just, I mean, I guess there's some flexibility there, but that is dying really well. And you see a lot of this. Look at this leaf right there is dying, but the rest of the plant is still looking green. So I have a feeling that these plants are attached to the ones that I that I painted down below. So it has traveled through. That's my guess. It's a guess. Because the upper leaves are still looking green, except for the tip right there. And you can find a lot of this throughout. So some of these, like for instance, this looks perfectly fine all the way through. Whereas this just looks like it's dying. Even the bottom, and the bottom is crunchy. As you go this way, I actually started doing less and less because I just got tired of painting. This is a lot of work to do this well. As you come over here, you can start seeing things like this. Like this plant right here looks like it's dying, but is right next to plants that aren't. And then some of them, if I can find them, they look like they're dying on the bottom. So here's a bottom leaf that's dying off, but the top is better. So I have a feeling that these ones where the leaves seem to be dying down there at the bottom are the ones that have gotten their dose of glyphosate through the root systems and it's coming up the other side. What I'm going to end up doing here, I'm going to start trimming everything back down with the weed eater, and then I'm going to run the mower over it with a bagger to bring all of this back down to a more reasonable height of cut. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it some water at dawn, and then I'm going to go ahead and let a lot of this grass start growing back and see what comes back, what starts growing back. I have a feeling that it's going to be a lot less than what we see here right now. And then at some point at the end of May or maybe early June, I'll do the whole thing again with whatever happens to be back. And then I'll have to probably do the landscaping over there, but that is a totally different project. Now this video wouldn't be complete if it wasn't for me giving a shout out to Jeremy over at The Greener Lawn. I am going to link to him down in the description below. Coincidentally, while I've been filming this project, he went and put out a video on the same exact topic. Of course, he presented the topic very differently from me, but the topic is exactly the same. And he's got a lot of good information on there, probably stuff that I didn't really go into very well in this video. Please go and take a look at his video. It's linked down in the description below. I'll have it linked right here in the corner as well. If, however, you're considering doing this, but you're concerned that your area is just too big and you want to glyphosate, just kill the entire area off, then make sure to watch the video kind of linked right up here about how to kill off a full lawn or a portion of the lawn well. I made that earlier this year and I recommend it.